passed along some of my concerns. Um, I had not seen this document, so I was concerned about it. Um, not sure how you're going to handle the fact that there are homeowners and also I don't know whether to call them homeowners or not. Probably not if they're vacant. But there are vacant properties. For example, I own 116 North Hutchinson, and I don't think it's probably 118 North Hutchinson as a whole. It seems to be sort of a parking lot. Um, so that would be my concern. Is that one concern is that landlords are going to be held to a standard that vacant property owners would not also be held to. So I know that it's hard to hold people accountable for that, but it just seems a little bit unfair for, you know, folks who are trying to provide a service. I know sometimes people that are landlords aren't seen as like in the best of light, but they are providing a service. They're providing a property that someone can live in when they don't have the proper credit score or ability to get a loan. So they're providing a place to rent, or maybe there's another reason. Maybe they don't want to mow or take care of their maintenance or something like that, and they have other reasons for the renting. So that's concern number one. We have properties that are sort of being not taken care of, but then landlords will have to be held to these standards. Then the second thing, we have a property management company that we manage over 200 doors. They're mostly in Hutchinson, some in Yoder, some in Haven. Very few in Haven now that we don't have the mobile home park. But the requirement of having carbon monoxide test, what do you call it, tester, smoke detector, and fire extinguisher outside of each bedroom unit just seems excessive from a cost standpoint. I mean, there's not a lot of money in property management. We don't really even like our jobs most days. I don't know why we do it, but we I just can't imagine that that will be very favorable. I don't know, like we manage properties. We don't manage in Wichita, but we manage in Hutchinson. I think that's a requirement, but it's not inspected for, so I don't know, is if the carbon monoxide monitor is functioning, like how far are we going to take that? And, what if the tenant does something to like take the batteries out? I mean, I just think there's like a lot of um, things that will be difficult because you can't directly manage a tenant. Like, as you know, when the grass gets tall, there's we want to try to get those people to mow, but sometimes they don't mow, and then it becomes challenging to sort of force people to do things. So I see there's like a lot of potential for a lot of things to be difficult for us to even make someone do. Um, of course, like for our company, for property management, we do inspections. We go in and make sure, like, hey, do you have a working smoke detector? We don't want these people dying in a fire either. But I just think that if you add up a smoke detector, a carbon monoxide detector, and a fire extinguisher, that's probably $300. I mean, without looking prices up, because I just read this today, that's probably $300 a pop. If you have 3 bedrooms, that's gets kind of expensive, and you have to have those maintained regularly. My only other concern, and I know I only have 5 minutes, I'm trying to jam this all in. When you look at the section 5 with inspections, section 5A through G, I just feel like there are it opens up for a lot of interpretation. So for example, item, section 5, item C, structure must be weather tight and watertight. That's for even D, property must be free of trash. I mean, I think we can think of properties we drive by, and that might be a matter of opinion. So I'm just wondering, I know this is obviously very, it's going to be up to probably Mr. Charlie to figure out, but I just think there's a lot of, it's very open to interpretation. I'm not against the policy or whatever you're calling it, resolution, I don't know, landlord license, whatever that's called. Um, I think it's not a bad idea. I just think there are some things for you to think about. With that, I think that's probably all I have to say. But happy to discuss with anyone.
All right, thank you,
Thank
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Jess, for bringing your
Tim
concern.
Hoskinson is not here. Approved minutes from April 20th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 20th.
Have
I'll
a
second.
motion on the table, have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Accounts payable.
Did anybody see anything or have questions?
I did not, no.
I did not either.
Okay. I just
Need a
sign the
motion.
total. Sorry.
If there's no questions or concerns,
Did you
I
guys?
make a motion to approve accounts payable from April 24th through May 4th in the amount of $84,241.53.
have a motion on the table. Need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Joey McClellan, you are up, sir.
So you have a resolution in front of you about a potential sales tax for the August ballot. The idea is to put a 1% sales tax on the August ballot to pay for capital projects that you guys have, that you really need. You've had an electric system that has been, I don't want to say, well, it's been bleeding all the other systems. The sales tax, the benefit of a sales tax, and let me get some numbers in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't forget that.
I did forget it, but thanks. I wanted to make sure I used the term. But I'm going to give it to you anyway. The most recent time we had a sales tax, Haven had a sales tax, was 2020. It was 0.5%. I pulled the numbers. 1/2 cent sales tax was pulled in $72,665. The use tax pulled in $13,778. I would suggest over the last 6 years, those numbers may have flipped. That you may collect more in use tax than sales tax, but it doesn't really matter. We have to project what a 1% sales tax will be. And so doubling that 1/2, we get $172,886. I used an inflation rate of 3% from 2020 on. And so I would think a reasonable estimation, first of all, if I was given a choice and if the county allowed me, I would say, let's use the 172,000 because we have to give them that amount. But if they want us to increase it for inflation, the 212,000 makes sense. The language on this would be very broad. You'd be able to use it for the water system, the sewer system, streets, just about anything you want. Ideally, that's how I'd like to see it done. I would like you guys to avoid debt and pay cash for things as much as possible. However, with that said, the logical question is potential debt payment. If you had a $212,000 income over a 25-year period, you could retire approximately $3 million in debt. I think it would be more effective to spend 212 on cash items than to do it as a bond issue. However, that's the logical question. I mean, that's the logical answer. $3 million if you had to do it tomorrow. But again, all of a sudden what happens, and your sales tax will grow with inflation, but what will happen is having 212 is dynamite. You know, when you have a sewer project and you need something right away and you have that money coming in. Excellent. Use that. The moment you do debt, and normally it'll be $3 million, oh, we have to do this for the electric system. Well, then that 212,000 is taken away. Every time you grow, you're going to pull a little off the sales tax when that sales tax income, but all of a sudden the 212 disappears because that's going to your debt payment. So now, one question that nobody's asked, but I'm gonna give you the answer is why a sales tax? Why not just issue debt? You guys can issue debt without an election because this way other people outside of the city pay for it. If you are a tourist destination, I'd say up to 70% would be paid for outside the city limits from people coming to town. And the note that I left on your desk is something called a pull factor. And a pull factor is just exactly what does it pull from outside the resident? A pull factor of 1 means that 50% comes from people outside the area, 50% comes from inside the area. I don't know what it would be for Haven. I would suggest it would probably be under 1 because you guys are more of a bedroom community to Haven. But it really all depends on bedroom community to Haven, to Hutchinson. I would suggest that it may be bigger because you guys do get a lot of people because of Haven Steel coming into town. And so it might be closer to that 1%, but it's nice to have someone else pay for it, even if it was a 20% pull, it's nice to have someone else pay for that. And I don't think I would use less than 1%. The key to passing, now, in Kansas, you don't have a whole lot of, cities don't have a whole lot of elections, other than a mayor's election or a council person's election. In Missouri, almost everything requires an election. I do a lot of work. I had 8 elections in Missouri in April. All of them passed, thankfully. The key is not a message of rah, 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 yes, this is the way to do it. The key is to say, here's what's on the ballot, and here's why we're doing it. I cannot remember the last time I put vote yes on anything. And we come up with a very simple voter informational brochure. In this case, it would say something to the effect of, let other people help us pay for our city. There are a lot of people that come to town that use your city. You might as well let them pay for some of it with the sales tax, even if it's only 20%. It's nice not having to pay the full boat. So that's all I've got for you.
I'm talking to a few people in the community, talking to department head, maybe the wording for exactly what it's going to be used for. Right now, it's pretty wide open.
It is very wide open, and I always start wide open, but with the attorney standing here or
Yes,
sitting here, I would, if you have a very defined area, I would keep it as broad as possible and put in the very narrow stuff. I would, if it is very much for electric, I would say to repair our electric system as well as other capital projects or something.
Here's what you have to consider in that determination, is that in Kansas, there's 2 different types of retailer sales tax that a city can pass. One is a general and one is a special. When we write it in the terms that we're seeing in front of us today, where it says it's for utility purposes, but also general city purposes, that makes it a general tax, meaning you can use it. Yes, we've indicated what we intend to use it for, but it is available for other purposes. The other thing that does is it makes it a perpetual sales tax. If you craft that question to where it's narrow enough that it says, these are the items that this tax can go to be used for, and only these items, you're creating what's called a special sales tax. And the thing that comes along with that is that it sunsets after 10 years no matter what. So you have to decide from a policy perspective, do you want to put out to the community, a general sales tax that this can be used for all, we intend to use it one way, but it will be available and, it's something we can rely upon year after year? Or do you want to put out, it's for only this, whatever they are, handful of
What is too
projects?
specific?
What is, if you take out the language of general city uses or for property tax reduction, or that's not in your question, but that's language that we sometimes use. If you take those out and just say it's for electrical and water and sewer, like if you just say it's for utility projects, you won't be able to use it on anything else, and it will have a time limit of 10 years.
That doesn't sound half bad, actually, in my opinion.
And there's a lot of reasons why cities pick
Yeah,
one
30
over
years.
the
if
other.
it's only
The-
for 10.
The thing that Joey will tell you, if I could step over the line a
Not
little
a
bit,
problem.
is when you go the special sales tax route and you say this sunsets at 10 years unless we go back out to election, all of a sudden a 20-year bond issue is a much harder thing to do because you're not going to have that after 10 years.
I still think you're gonna have a hard time selling general with our voters.
Yes, and that's the
And that
decision
is,
for the
you,
council
yeah,
to make.
yeah, you guys are the boots on the
You-
ground.
Well,
to
yeah,
other
I mean, but
community
it just
members?
sounds like a
Well,
free license
Two
to
people that are,
do just
Carmichael.
whatever, and,
Yeah.
you know,
Uh,
me as a
Dr. Julie
taxpayer, I would
Caffrey.
have some issues with
Briefly
some of
a
that
little bit
language
shorter.
despite the,
and then that's,
And that's
despite the
decision that you guys
explanation.
have to make. Yeah, it's your,
So
so,
Leslie kind of hinted at, and so did Steve, with what happened in Hutch and what happened in Wichita. It was a wide open, like, hey, we're gonna pass a sales tax and it's just gonna be a blank check for the city to use.
But it got voted down.
Yeah, and I think, and I agree with Steve and the people I've talked with, is there's a fine line right there of what we can skate along and actually use. I think the majority of the people in the city would realize, that are gonna vote, would realize, yes, we have a aging infrastructure. We have some projects coming down the pipe, even without electrical, that might get forced on our hand, and we're gonna have to take some action against it, because right now, there's no government funding to pay for those.
With it saying and related infrastructure needs, is that, like, does that keep it broad enough?
that will be a special sales tax.
So-
It'll be limited to infrastructure related to those utilities. I mean, we'd have to look at exactly how
So-
it gets recrafted, but yeah.
That would probably need to be removed if we're not wanting to do special tax
Right.
anyway.
You would,
That's my understanding. Because even if we keep it applied for general city purposes, including electrical, water, sewer, streets, and related infrastructure needs, does that still,
You can
add
keep all
that.
that language in there. If you have general purposes including, you can put
I got
all kinds of
Okay.
things that you intend to use it for in the
Okay.
including, and it keeps it a general tax. If you take out that very beginning for general city purposes, let's say, for water, sewer, electrical, and related infrastructure, now
Okay.
we've got a special.
so let me ask, can we have the general language and being wide open, but sunset it? And say, ends
Yes,
at 10 years?
Yes, you can.
That way, you could kind of go six one way, half dozen the other, and say, if we misuse this, you guys don't vote this back in year 10. And I hate sunsets because I have to vote them again. But they absolutely pass sales tax. When you say this is done after, I have some, Concordia, Missouri, has a street sales tax, it's a gas sales tax, and they renew it every 4 years, and it will make you crazy. But they because they do exactly what they say they're gonna do, it gets renewed. So, I would be very specific if this is what you're getting from the community, and make it sunset in 10 years, make it a special.
I think, in-
Now, if you do that, of course, when Joey says this sales tax would support $3 million borrowing, now we're really probably talking about $1.5 million borrowing.
Right, well, you're right,
You
you're
need to
exactly
go
right,
that
and
way.
I am not, you guys have heard, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to make you guys borrow.
No.
I want you to pay cash for as much as possible. If all of a sudden in year 5, someone says you need a new transformer, well, then you think, okay, how are we gonna do it? You can go and issue that without this, but this is what'll pay for it for the first 5 years, and then you if you're doing exactly what you're saying you're doing over the 10-year period, sales taxes are easy to renew. They're not easy to put into place normally, but they are easy to renew, because you've done what you said you'd do.
Well, I think that you were gonna have a lot of, if you talk about electrical and then kind of focus on electrical in the argument, I think you're gonna get a lot more people, because we've all lived here and dealt with electrical.
Sure.
So-
Rates are through the roof.
I think people will see the improvement that we were making. The biggest one will be on Fifth Street when the
Mhm.
substation disappears.
But you almost need to have Steve up on the deal selling that, right,
Proposing
your
the budget.
flyer.
The electrical side, which is our focus,
Sure.
more like $6 million project.
Oh,
a $3
okay, I was
million
like, what are you talking about?
project.
Okay, on the bottom,
The-
sorry.
I understand the sunset deal, and I do definitely think we'll see massive work get done quick. I say quick. In the first year, people are gonna see things happening.
Right.
So I think At first, it scares me of Sunset, because I'm like, my gosh, in 10 years, they decide they don't want to do this anymore, and now the city's on the hook for the last $4 million that we haven't paid back yet without it.
We're,
That's what scares me about the
you'll be
Sunset.
issuing general obligation debt. And so, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, the logical way to do this is to pass the sales tax, uses all of the sales tax to retire the debt, but the debt you will be issuing will be general obligation bonds secured by your property taxes. So in year 10, if all of a sudden the town says, the city says, we're not doing this anymore, people's property taxes will go up. That is a very powerful message to say,
that's
hey,
true.
you keep the sales tax or we're raising property taxes. That will pass. That one, I don't want to ever say an election is a layup, but if that's your choice, people are absolutely happy to say, we'll keep that sales tax.
I agree with that argument.
So don't be concerned about that bond is gonna be very well secured, and you'll tell us the useful life. If the useful life is 30 years, we'll go 30 years. But I have zero problem with a sales tax with the idea that you know that in year 9, we're gonna put this back on the ballot. And in year 19, we're gonna put this back on the ballot to keep the property taxes low.
Any thoughts after that? About your biggest worry?
That was my biggest worry about a Sunset, but I also think it would, as long as people are seeing improvement, it's not gonna be a problem.
I think it'll take community engagement,
Oh, there's a
Well-
lot of community engagement happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but thoughts from the table on what, besides the language, doing a sales tax to pay for right now, which is our biggest concern, is our electrical upgrade. That's why I reached out to Joey, talked to some of our department heads about this is a way to help with it.
And remember, again, use a 20% number. That means 20% of people that are not here in town are helping pay for it, helping pay for that sales tax. So,
When we did the one in 2020 to pay for the EMS building, it did get paid off earlier than projected, off of the revenue coming in.
Well, we have to do something.
Yes.
We are at a point where we don't have a choice. So I don't see any option. I mean, asking all of it's, we all pay too much. But the unfortunate thing is, if we want to live in a community where we have solid utilities and solid infrastructure for everyone that lives here, they're going to want to stay living here.
Well, and to support any growth. that
Exactly.
you're
We
going
can't
to
grow if
encourage.
we don't do this.
It's the #1 utility that provides everything to this town.
Yeah.
We would not have rec, we would not have a swimming pool, we would not have a library, we would not have an EMS, we wouldn't have any of that if that goes away. So, I mean, our only 2 options are is upgrade it ourselves or turn it over to Ed. That's not an option. So,
When we looked into this 3 years ago, to go above ground was like 4 million, to go underground was 6. And 6 million is to go now, is to go above ground. I wouldn't even ask what it would be to go
it's
underground.
close to 20 to 25 million to go underground.
Oh, really?
Ouch.
It's a big difference.
Has
Should've done it 3 years ago.
benefits, but it also has its negatives.
Yeah, we gotta do something.
And the good thing is if it's a sales tax, it's less likely that we're gonna have to up the rates as much. I'm not saying we would not be having to go raise rates. That's coming no matter what. It won't be as bad if we had this compared to if we didn't. And I can promise you rates won't cover that.
So as far as like ways to educate the community on it, you said you have a pamphlet that we can
So it
For
is as
information.
simple as this handout I just gave you. It'll be 8.5 by 11, it won't be pretty, and it'll just say, what's the problem, what is the proposed solution, when to vote, and how much it's gonna cost. And then have a public meeting a week before the election, at a minimum, if not 3 weeks and a week before the election. Sooner than that, people get tired of the message. So determine the public meeting, and I have, the birthplace of J.C. Penney's is Hamilton, Missouri, and I've handled every single one of their elections over 20-plus years, and I've never had anybody show up to the public meeting, and they passed them all. I don't know why, it works, you will never know when if you get people in here yelling at you, they tend to pass, and if they're in here and nobody shows, they tend to pass. If you make the effort to get the word out, and it can be as simple, they don't wanna see the signs, they don't wanna see that you're spending to promote, even, they wanna see an effort to get the message out.
KPP has said they would help promote it. And K96 corridor said they could do something as well, so
What
As far
else
as
for
like
paying for
promoting
not,
a
distributing to, like,
not information?
mail flyers out or
Can-
something
can
like
the
that,
city-
or
can
what?
the city- the city-
I don't know what
Well, it's probably
Kayleen had with
Yeah.
K96. Leslie said KPP could hold a couple, like go to the senior citizen center, putting a program together and just kind of explaining everything.
So there's rules in Kansas with respect to the mayor, the city council members, and city staff with respect to elections. So everything that Joe was talking about is right in line with those, meaning it's very ordinary and normal and acceptable for these informational packets to be put out there. What is the issue? How much might this, handle it, and what those are. Where we can't cross the line is into the vote yes category. And so, as long as you keep your output both on paper and when you're talking to your constituents to, these are the issues, this is one of the ways to handle it, this is how we think it might help, and don't pass to vote yes, vote yes, vote yes, you're good.
You can have an outside entity promote. Go ahead, I'll give you the.
Yeah. You can have outside entities can absolutely go promote. The city should not finance any of those outside entities who are doing that, yeah.
Right.
So the simplest is and I don't go door to door anymore, but the simplest is a brochure to get to the spots in town where you know people congregate. It's a coffee shop, drop a stack of 20 off. It's a bulletin board, you know where they are. And then on that brochure we have a public meeting on this night and this night. And I attend those if you want me to. And typically they yell at me. I hit a beer can thrown at me
Better you
once.
than me. Wow.
Yeah, that was
So,
like,
I've been to some heated ones too.
Yeah.
So both your suggestions then, it would, with our input of thinking the general purpose would be a tough sell. That you guys both think it'd be okay to be more specific in electric, water, and sewer related infrastructure.
yeah, I think that's what,
And
yeah.
it's just gonna have this 10-year sunset.
Well, I think you have two choices there, and I'm not making a recommendation one way or the other, I'm just telling you what your choices are. One, you could cut back on those permitted uses to the point where it becomes a special use, and then sunsets in 10 years. That's choice one. Or you can keep the permitted uses as general, including these utility infrastructure upgrades, and impose your own 10-year sunset on it and say, but notwithstanding the fact that it's general, it will end in 10 years. And that gives you, if you need to tell the community this is gonna end in 10 years, and then you can all decide whether we were good stewards of your funds or not, you can do that and still leave that general purpose availability open for the city. Those are really the two options you've got. Totally for you to decide.
I think we should leave it at the general.
Like it is.
Yeah,
And add a sunset.
that's what I would do.
Can we
What's
go
the purpose
longer
of
than
adding a
10?
sunset if
I-
you're leaving
You can
it
go
at-
as long as you want.
So you could say
It doesn't make
15
any
years.
Just if we feel like we're gonna have a larger issue with people, the buy-in of why we're doing it, then if we we give it a time frame, then we can come back and say, look, this is what we've done. The city council at the time can come back and say, this is what has been done with this money. We need to continue to do this because these are the projects we still have to fund and reimpose it. I don't necessarily think that we need a sunset, but I think it is what it is. We all live here, we all understand what needs to be done.
I would be more inclined to say that we need to specify and have it automatically sunsets.
So special.
Yeah. Just to get people on board from the get. Because otherwise we're gonna have a hard time, I think.
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like, I think as long as the message is clear that this is the things that we want to include, but if we leave it general, then if something else happens that we need that money for that doesn't fall in the category of a special, then we have access for that without scrambling to try to get something done.
Like a microburst wiping out the city hall.
Or
Yeah, like that. I mean, things that,
Like a
or
microburst wiping out city hall.
water main break, a huge one or something.
yeah, I mean,
All
there's
this- yeah.
there's
But if
just,
you leave it at electric, water, sewer, and related infrastructure.
Oh, you're
that's
saying
not
you
general.
want to keep that stuff. Sorry, you said more
Mhm.
specific, so I thought you were
Not
wanting.
general purpose, like eliminating general purpose and having electric, like basically utilities and related
Gotcha.
infrastructure.
Sorry, I thought you were wanting to.
Just say electric.
I don't,
Yeah, no.
yeah, I don't like the word general either. I like, but I like everything else, as it
I think if you
pertains to
start to
infrastructure.
we pigeonhole ourselves then.
Correct.
Then there is no stepping outside that bound. Once this is done, that's the only thing that money can be used for. So again,
Right, but in a 10-year period, that's all we're gonna use it for anyway. That's all we should be using it for. That's what we're trying to sell.
But I think, again, I mean, just 3 years ago, the roof of a building got lifted up and set down next to it. I mean, things like that, yes, there's insurance, but there are still a lot of other things that are come along that we're gonna have to pay for. And I feel like if we do a special and then in 3 years we come back and the city council goes, oh, wait, hold on, we need more. And now you have to do it again. And now you have to have a second sales tax. And now you have 2 sales tax when you could just have the one that's general with a specific intent to it. But in the event that something else happens that comes up that absolutely we have to take care of, we have the funds available to do so.
So can I ask this? The word general and the words related infrastructure.
If we take that general out, then we are pigeonholing us into a special.
Okay.
You
All
have to
right.
keep the
Right, it's
general
gonna have
city
a
purposes.
sunset
Okay.
on it after 10 years.
I would say a general.
All right.
Keeping it to general, adding a sunset, you will have to be very specific in the voter informational material. You'll have to be, here is what we're doing. We'll keep the ballot language general, but when you're talking to the community and you have a handout, then the handout should be very specific. And if 3 years down the road, you need to replace a roof on a fire department, you'll be able to do it regardless of what the brochure said.
Right.
Because it's the ballot language that defines everything.
And Steve, you had an issue with special. Can you tell us about that again? Special and just the word special, where it ends in 10 years. You had,
Well, if we go with general, and you said, like you said, you self-impose a sunset on it of 15 years, you can advertise it as that.
Yeah.
That it does have a sunset after 15 years. That you're imposing on yourself.
Because otherwise it just goes on until eternity.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Or until we call debt. and
My
cancel.
concern was
Yeah.
that if we went with the special and it has to sunset in 10 years, and then they
Are you gonna
decide
pay
not
for
to
that?
do it, now we're on the hook for the
The
other
rest of it.
30 years or
20 more years.
20
So
years.
15
bond.
But we
years.
really wouldn't be
Without
because it would go on
tax,
to
no.
You're exactly right.
taxes, so
So
that's,
I'd rather pay
it
for
would roll to your taxes or it would roll
Right.
into the
Right.
rights.
And then once you said that it would roll into the taxes, the property tax and
Or
stuff,
the user rates.
or, right, then that scares all of us.
I'd
that
rather
our
have
property
50%
tax go
of
down.
someone else outside of our community pay for it
Yeah, me too.
than the whole community as a whole pay for it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the sales tax.
Correct.
Okay, so 10 or 15, okay. Yeah, I mean,
We-
is 15 years more or 15 years more palatable, you think? Rather than 10?
I was just in general.
I was just,
Sunset
yeah, right.
is my.
All right.
Is that a motion for resolution 453?
Oh, I didn't know the resolution.
Is that what this resolution number is?
I believe so, yes.
Do you wanna, do you wanna
Well, that's the
recraft that?
chicken
Well,
one.
yeah, that's my question. Okay, so the resolution that's in front of you will call,
A general
and
election.
it will call the general question. So if all of you have a copy of that in front of you and look on
Yes,
page
sir.
2.
Yeah, I believe that's what I was saying. I said a general with no sunset.
Okay, if that's what you wanna, if that's what you, the motion you wanna make, you can pass this resolution as is, and it will start the process to have an election on August 4th.
If you're looking for a sunset, it's a rewrite,
Yeah.
which is fine. We have, when's the deadline? June 1st. Till June, is it June 1? So we've got plenty of
Got some
time.
few meetings in between,
Yeah,
or at least one.
or
Yeah.
special.
Resolution 453 is for the chickens.
It's 453 or 454. It doesn't matter.
whichever
Oh,
comes
it's
first.
on here, so I got it though.
453. With Sherry and Sierra kind of talking, is you have a motion, thinking about a motion.
Oh, yeah, I will make a motion.
Sierra makes a motion, we have a motion on the table. Do I have a second? Go on again, do I have a second?
I will second.
Have a second on the table. I will do a roll call, because I believe that's what it states. Sierra, yea or nay?
Yes.
A yes, Nicole? You
Nay.
Have one nay. Shelley?
Yes.
Have one, 2 yeses. Corey?
Yes.
Have 3 yeses. Sherry?
Yes.
4 yeses. Motion passes.
Without a sunset, right? Or-
Sure.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted
As
to,
written.
as written, okay, Dynamite, I'm gonna let you follow up with the needed
Certainly.
signatures and everything, and thank you guys. Start looking at dates for meetings, and it doesn't have to be, my recommendation is 6 o'clock because your normal meeting times are 7, and, or even 6:30 because it gives you an end time. Sometimes people just like to yell, and so if you have an end time, you can go longer than 7 o'clock, you can just start your city council meeting later. So, thank you guys, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for your work on this.
For sure.
454 for the chickens.
Is this for the high school?
Yeah, I didn't see, looks like it pretty much had everything we had.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 454.
Have a motion by Nicole,
I'll second.
have a second by Sherry, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
453 was the resolution.
Consider prosecutor, we've had a couple, Matt has talked to a couple of them. Do what? Oh, I thought you talked to another, sorry. So we have 3, we have Mr. Graffman, we have Joy, and then we have Cole,
This is the original.
correct?
There's,
As a budgetary, fee, my recommendation would be going with Joy. Matt talked to her and can fill you in if you have questions about her.
My concern with her looking at her experience, she's pretty busy lady. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cities. Will this person have time for us on her
So
her
that
docket?
is her, so when I did talk to her, our court days are her days, or they are available, so.
So tell me how, from a budgetary standpoint, that makes the most sense to you.
Cause
Cause
it's
that's
a
a
straight,
flat rate fee, but it's like
So
more
if-
than what we would probably pay.
So,
No,
one
that's-
thing one thing that you'll need to look at on well, consider is, if we have, I mean, our court hearings time is not the only time that attorney is going to be, working, because I'll just step up here. So, so your attorneys, they work on court prep for taking care of diversions, doing all those things outside of the courtroom itself. So there is some budgetary things there.
Do we have any idea how much time typically gets spent?
It's,
How it makes sense one way or another?
so Josephine, do you know how much we have spent, I guess, can you pull up, how much we've spent on courts for the,
And is that right? Everybody else?
but I know that we had a special, we had a special agreement with, our last, prosecutor and stuff.
What was the special agreement?
Well, I don't know, I'm sure we had some special agreement with them, didn't we?
We paid
I
mileage,
thought
we
that's
paid
what we were concerned
time,
about his.
Okay.
we paid, yeah,
Okay, so
hourly,
that's-
200 per hour
so
plus
that's-
mileage.
Oh, so,
Right, but I'm just saying that's.
Right. I was just asking if that,
it'll be an agreement that we had with them, so.
this is I was just making sure it wasn't missed on here. Cause I didn't see it in her paragraph.
It's,
so like
It
Mr.
covers
Grappin,
mileage.
he's coming from Kingman, that's 45
Oh.
minutes one way.
Yeah.
Skipped right over
So
that.
it's 45 minutes back the other way. It's an hour and a half that we're just paying him drive time plus mileage.
And this
He's
guy's
160.
coming from Hutch and it's 75 cents, or 75 cents a mile.
Well, that's IRS guidelines right now.
Yeah.
How long is court typically?
It can range, from 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours, depending on whatever.
So we have a $200 an hour, $160 an hour, plus drive time, which they count in their billing, and then we have whatever they're doing in their offices getting prepared for court.
Correct.
And we pay them per quarter hour for billing, 1/10 an hour billing.
One.
This one is 1/10.
depends if they specify it or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine. I was just curious, just wanting to hear the
No,
thought
no.
process. Is all. I understand. That makes more sense to
I
me
mean-
now, knowing that they
Do,
potentially bill for a lot more because of prep time and everything, so.
I mean, the
That's why I ask
200,
questions.
the $200 person,
Yeah, that's,
yeah, I mean, that's not bad. But he spends 2 hours and
Right.
we're,
working out for 30
Miss
minutes
Joy
worth of
here
court
on her
cases is a little.
holistic perspective. Was she able to give you any detail on that wording?
I'm sorry.
On Joy, where she said she approached prosecution from a holistic perspective. Was she able to detail that out for you a little bit?
So, we talked, she's more, on the, rehabilitation side, make sure that things are in compliance, rather than just rocket sock them send them to jail every time type thing, so. There, sometimes, but, she said, but if somebody needs to go to jail, they need to go to jail.
Did you read
But,
the next
you know,
sentence? The
she's
next
gotta take
sentence
our-
Makes it make a little more sense.
Input as well.
Our current judge has worked with Cole, and none of the other two he has not. So just throwing that out there. The Gilmore,
Oh, this one. Oh, no, this one's by Cole.
Nicholas, he goes by Nicholas, but signed it Nicholas, but it goes by Cole.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry,
Makes more sense.
and it did take him a while to get us.
Fine with your recommendation.
All right, I need a motion then for me to recommend Joy Williams.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of the mayor's appointment of Joy Williams as the city prosecutor.
Have a motion on the table by Nicole. Need a second, have a second by Sierra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next one is consider appointments, so I will list them off. Our attorney would be Spencer Fain. Chief of Police, Matt Hayden. Treasurer, Julie Caffrey. Municipal Judge, Michael Robertson. Prosecutor, which we just did, would be Joy Williams. And City Clerk would be Andrea Williams. So I need a motion on the table.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
You need a script for that?
Yes,
Sure.
I do. It should be on the last.
Here, actually, I have it right here.
Oh, okay. I was like, I have one for you.
I'll make a motion to recess into executive session for the purpose of discussing non-elected personnel.
That'll work.
Do I need to say anything?
You don't have to say anything else other than the time period and who you want to be in there with you.
Perfect. So how long? I'd say at least 20 minutes.
I was gonna say 15 at least. I would say 20.
20
8:05.
minutes, so, what time is it? I have a huge glare.
It's
Yeah,
7:50?
7:49.
So do we need to go in the other room then?
So 8:19.
Yeah.
To include?
That would be 30 minutes. 8:09. To include mayor, city council, city attorney.
All right, we have a motion on the table.
Second.
Have a second by Sierra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, we're going into another room. If you guys want to stay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, we do leave. I
Do we
just
leave
need
that here, I guess?
back from executive session, action taken, extend.
Release.
21 minutes. How much?
You make the motion again.
How much you just
I
got?
said, I just was, I was like shock.
Yeah,
You want 20?
is 20 fine with you?
That's
20.
fine. Have a motion on the table from Corey. Need a second.
Second.
Have a second by Shelley. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries. In executive session, no binding action taken. After discussion, move forward with the appointees and appoint city clerk Josephine Harper as city clerk.
I make a motion.
Have a motion,
I'll second.
have a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Oh, where are we? Oh, discuss landlord license.
Copy that you got now, is a copy that's been through the attorneys. And I don't have a whole lot to say one way or the other. It's up to you sitting there at the table and what you want to do. If you want some discussion about it, I'll be glad to try and answer questions.
The money that you would collect off of this, what is that going towards? I'm asking because I,
It's just like any other revenue would be.
That'd just be a general fund.
What prices did we discuss?
it was 100 and then something else. That's it.
Couldn't our issues with landlords not following through with taking care of their properties be addressed in another way other than putting an undue burden on everyone? Like, can we not have, like, if we have somebody that comes to town, they're gonna rent a house, there be something that they pick up when they register to get their city. Yeah, like the utilities and things that says, in the event you have an issue with your landlord, these are the steps to file to get code enforcement involved. Versus creating a policy that is gonna get me having to file for a landlord if I decide to move and my kids rent from me. That is an undue burden on those people that have one or two houses.
Well, and Jessica addressed what was my biggest thing is we're holding landlords to a standard that we don't even hold
Property owners.
to.
Exactly.
Like that was one of my biggest
I mean, I follow the law, I mean, the code, I have a smoke detector on both my levels of my house. Do I have a fire extinguisher everywhere? No. Do I have a carbon monoxide room? No. So,
You don't have to have a fire extinguisher everywhere.
well, it states it is at each sleeping space.
Everywhere?
Every sleeping.
outside each sleeping unit.
That-
So
But not for a fire,
all in the
not
same
for a
sentence.
fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher, you just need to have one.
Okay, well, then that needs to be re-verbiaged.
The way, if you were to read it, it's
Okay.
And my concern is we're trying to be a very family-friendly, approachable city, and now we're looking at a homeowner who maybe found a house in Haven for a reasonable price that can afford their kids going to a school district they want, but now we're gonna add an additional charge to what they already have to fork over. You're looking at a $250 deposit for
This
city.
isn't for
No,
renters.
no,
This-
that doesn't have anything to do with somebody buying
I mean,
a
sure,
house and
maybe
moving
they
in.
don't.
But you're,
Maybe they'll implement it onto the rent.
that was my take of how I,
Like
listening to
like
the
on home
conversation.
inspection. Like if
Yeah, you're
you're already, if you do a home inspection buying a new house, new code requires
Yeah.
smoke detectors, so they should already have them. If you're a landlord and you buy a new house, you're gonna have to go through those steps anyways, or you should, unless you waive the home inspection fee. So most of those items are already gonna be in
Yeah.
place.
Well, and where does this compare to other smaller cities that we are kind of same number, same?
Did our previous attorneys help you put this together, or is this something that?
The only thing that they did to it was on on this one right here, there's a couple of different things in there that are highlighted in yellow.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing they did.
What happens if somebody does mark yes, that they've had their license revoked or suspended.
That was a concern with Kendra, having like the felony question on there and those other questions.
Mhm.
That she did say it opens us up to maybe a discrimination, having those on there. She said she did look over these and her opinion was those are things that if we were to proceed is could probably be removed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Um, so.
You don't have to
Yeah,
have
that
like an
wasn't in the
LLC or a
original.
license to have it be a
When I-
landlord, so that doesn't.
The original one that went to
But I can't really
previous
input much on
law
this,
firm
I would assume.
But I'm on her now.
didn't have that in there. They added it on their own.
I think you
Okay.
can.
Well,
And it doesn't
and-
I
have
never
to be-
saw that in any of the others that I read.
Management company.
Yeah,
Well,
but you-
and this whole thing just blows me away. As I had,
As you
I-
learned from your sister.
I live in a family home that is not owned by me. Do I pay rent? No.
Okay.
But what's to say if I move out and my kids who move in and start paying rent, you're telling me that you want to come into a house that the city has no dealings with because it's been bought and paid for by a member of the community. You want to come in and do an annual inspection?
Yes.
But if
That is
if
a
I have no
massive invasion of privacy.
The
It
design of
doesn't
it is to
necessarily mean
protect
we
the
will.
renter.
But here's the
Like,
thing.
I understand the concept.
I'm not renting from a property agent, and I'm kind of, I wish Jessica would have stayed. I'm not renting from a property agent. I'm not saying I am. I live in a family home, but I'm renting from someone who I go into an agreement with, and things we'll say per the landlord rental agreement, whatever, everything's taken care of. But now as a city who, last time I checked, we're not in an HOA, is going to tell me they're going to come in and inspect my house? I got problems with that. And I'm sure every other home in this town who rents out has the same problem. If I'm following the letter of the law on keeping my house up to date, where do you come in and tell me you need a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide by every place in your house?
I could actually care less, but if you're renting for somebody, we want to make sure that that rental
But
property
that's
has it.
That's up to me and my private landlord.
Well,
No.
take the gas company.
No,
for
it
instance.
isn't.
Actually, it is because last time I checked, I didn't sign an agreement with you or the city on
Have you read the
Mine-
code?
on my
Go to the city.
on hold on my lease agreement. If I sign it with the private landlord, there's nowhere in there that I have to follow things that the city puts out. As long as me and the
But you
landlord,
live in the city, so you have to follow the city code.
correct, which
That's-
follows the outside of the house, doesn't
No,
go with
no,
inside of my
it
house.
doesn't.
So you're gonna go inspect every home because now you're just
I'm not
you're
going to go
No,
inspect every
That's
home.
not what he's saying, though.
hold on though.
No, you're taking this
No.
out of context.
No, I'm
and
not.
taking it a little too
Because
personal, I
You
think.
just no. You just said we're not holding everybody to the same letter of the law. We're just doing
It's
people
not
that
about
rent,
the same
Hold-
letter of
hold-
the law.
but we're only affecting people that are renting.
This is to
Is he gonna-
protect the renter.
But that I'm not in a rental.
from the
I'm not in a
landlord.
rental
We're not
property.
even.
Is this to protect the renter from,
Yeah.
Having a
It protects
slumlord.
the renter,
Yeah.
It protects the homeowner, and it protects the city.
Then
Right.
we need to take these as case
So-
by case basis, because you're now affecting ultimately a landlord who is doing everything letter of the law. Now you want to come in and say, you don't have a carbon monoxide detector by every bedroom in your house.
Well, we
You
can
know,
take that part out.
There would be a
There's-
liability to
There's
him.
there's a lot in here that needs to go away.
Yeah, he said we can do that.
But, okay, question. How many cities actually have a code like this that require landlords to lease or
So-
to
How
sign up?
many?
Hutch, I know of Hutch for
Quite a
sure.
few.
Hutch does or doesn't?
How many?
Does. So
How
we,
many that
as
are
Jessica
within-
said, we have a lot of properties there. We read into this with a tenant where they were saying that we were having them live in an uninhabitable home. They called the city to come out. And we even tried to call the city to get a rule on it. And because our rule of thumb was always one smoke detector on each level and a carbon monoxide detector on each level and call it good. You know, that's what we're going to provide you with. And then when the city went out, I mean, They just looked at it and only if somebody came out to complain is basically. So I think that's where this is going, is if somebody calls to complain that there's something out there,
It's a policy
is
that we
this-
can enforce.
so that people aren't living in houses that are just filling up with sewers.
But again,
Or not
basically it
mowing their
says
lawn.
anyone
So is
who
this
is
something
collecting
that
rents.
we
Right.
can
So if-
amend to
Yes, no, I
read
agree with
that
you.
and there's more houses in this
Just
town
if
that,
the homeowner
Yeah.
has concerns, the city will come inspect?
So we've had this for
Or-
2 months. Yeah, the last meeting we were asked, look through
Yeah.
it, see what changes you have to
Right.
suggest,
Mm-hmm.
and we
That's what
put it
this-
on this meeting.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what we're supposed to be discussing.
But you weren't present,
That's what I'm
you
asking.
were not present for that.
I am not for it.
But the,
But I don't think the conversation is yes or no. I think the conversation is
I
how
don't
can we
think-
tweak it?
I don't think
Can it be tweaked?
we
can we
should
make
not be
adjustments
charging
to
people
it?
because they have a house that they're renting. To register, now we're
Okay.
charging a fee.
Okay.
That should not happen because
For the
again,
landlord, I understand.
again, because there are more houses in this town that are owned by people that are rented to people with just a handshake
I
agreement.
don't disagree. I don't
It's
disagree.
number one.
I-
Number
But-
two,
with that, why are we charging a trailer park a fee to have a trailer park?
Because trailer parks are
they're
different.
different. They're looked at differently on every level.
But it's still a fee to have a mobile home park.
Right,
If you're a landlord,
How is it different?
yeah. I mean, so when, from an insurance perspective,
Zoned differently.
they're zoned differently. They
So they
have
have
different
to
insurance requirements.
Have it for it being multi. So that's how we could.
Can you
But-
just gear these towards the
Well,
landlord
technically our
corporations and not the
trailer
single
parks
owner
are in
people?
commercial zones,
Yeah.
they're zoned correctly, so when it comes to the city, it,
except one.
doesn't even.
Huh.
So they're zoned incorrectly.
I'm all right with the corporations and stuff like that, Billy written to Sally, I don't think that applies personally, but
But then you're gonna have people,
It's either,
But we're punishing those that are following the letter of the law because of one bad situation.
Exactly.
Ultimately,
One
that's how this
slumlord.
came about.
so again, do we,
It's life.
but we just had a conversation about how one bad thing ruins the whole thing, so.
Correct, I know.
So let's not let that one thing ruin for everybody else. I think there is a happier medium where when renters come to turn on their services, they are given a pamphlet that says in the event that your landlord does not meet the terms of your agreement and your house is uninhabitable or you have issues, this is the procedure and who to call and contact.
But we have to have this in place to help
well,
litigate.
We have to have some kind of policy.
some of this is
that
okay,
we
but I
can
think what they're going
uphold.
after is take out the charging part. Take out
A fee.
So essentially, they register as a landlord, but they don't necessarily have to pay.
I mean, cause
personally, if somebody wants to park in their backyard, I don't care
I think
either, you know.
Personally, just sitting here listening to all this, you guys are the governing body, so first off, you need to define landlord.
according to
What
this,
is yours,
Yeah.
not this. You make these rules. You don't have to follow these. You guys.
Right, that's why this
provide these.
discussion is
Yes.
taking
So,
place, is so we
What I'm
can.
saying is, you need to determine what a landlord is. Is it you owning a house and rent it to your kids? If you don't think that's a landlord, put it in here. Change it. That's your job. Change what this says. Make this read to where it protects the people that are renting from a company that has 20 houses.
Right. Or
That's
property.
who we're after to protect. We're not after trying to get the family house in trouble. We're trying to protect the people
Or invade
from
privacy,
slumlords,
or-
which we have in this town.
Thank you for presenting today,
So-
I
And-
appreciate it.
And I agree with what Adam said. We have to have something in order to enforce. Like, we can't just say, "Oh, we decided to do this, so
Well,
this
there's-
is what we're enforcing."
there's already city codes in place. We already have all the codes in place. So that's the whole reason we have a code enforcement person. that if they're not following the city code and somebody complains, then they go to the city code enforcement person, and the person goes in and does the investigation.
But then this streamlines that process essentially.
How?
Is because the landlord has been notified that these are the things that they have to do. That's how I interpret this. And do I agree with everything that's in here? No, but I think that's why we're having this discussion. Do I feel like there's a happy medium? Absolutely. But I feel like that's why we're having this discussion, so we can, like Steve said, determine what a landlord is, specify, these are the instances that we're trying to protect. It's about accountability is really what it is. And
It's generally, yeah, I will admit to you that I did talk about it. I mean, all you said is turning on. Policy like this. Intended that this would be passed as part of the code. I mean, this has kind of been drafted as a policy, but I would imagine in order to enforce this, we've got to put it in a code section at some point in time, right? But this is a working document. I mean, it's not an unusual thing. There are communities around Kansas that do this in one form or another, if nothing else, just to keep track of who the landlords are. But it's absolutely up to the council, whether you have a system like this, or if you do, what components of it you put in here. Do you say it only applies to, someone who is renting to non-family members or has 3 or more rental properties within the city? I mean, you come up with any number of ways to skin the cat on this.
3 or more rental properties, that sounds great.
I would say 10 or more.
10 or
Yeah.
more. And when you go do an inspection and you go into the house, you're looking for carbon monoxide,
Whatever we decide.
whatever we decide. Well, I'm just rolling
Yes.
through it in my head. That you're looking for a fire extinguisher, at least one fire extinguisher, and a carbon monoxide detector and the fire deal. And that's all you're looking for, and you turn around and leave.
Check
Is
the
it
furnace,
proposed
make
in-
sure that the furnace doesn't have any leaks. Take the sniffer in there and check and make sure there's no gas
Okay.
leak anywhere.
I
Check
actually read it
the
today.
water heater and make sure there's no leaks on it. You check all the traps, to make sure that they don't leak into the cabinets.
Yeah, there's next for G, under licensing, section 3G.
So that was
Right.
my question, like, are you gonna be going in for an annual, your plan isn't to go in for annual
It
inspection?
isn't my plan, no.
It's
I think it might say that in here, but I think
between
that was one of the
renters.
things that needs to be discussed.
I think it should be if somebody,
Or with
Called you
complaints or concerns?
If we get called, or if the house is empty and somebody else is moving in, we check it before it's ever moved into.
I would say in between tenants, because one person could trash it. The landlord goes through there and puts lipstick on a pig
Right,
Yeah.
and moves someone right on in, like,
yeah.
I do caution a little bit, I understand where you're coming from, just caution a little bit against taking away the authority to affirmatively inspect, because that gets really easy to gain. If you say, well, the inspector can only come out if the tenant calls or some other event happens, that can put you in a bad spot. If there's, is there room or is there something going on? It puts an affirmative burden on you to prove something has happened when we go out there, so just think about that. See that.
What would you
the gas
recommend?
company has a right to come in your house.
I
if you
don't
call them for a
mind
gas
an
leak.
annual,
Or if there's a gas leak in the area.
If there's a gas leak,
inspection.
Yeah.
then you're not going to stay there until you get home responsible.
Right, I mean, and you have to set up an
Potential
appointment.
annual?
Gross
Can you-
invasion of privacy.
Can you
You
say,
can do
Well, it's always
semi-annual.
within your discretion to say, I'm not gonna inspect your house.
Yeah. You call and make sure that you've got an appointment to go there, that people will be there at the time. And, if they want to go in and clean suffer something first, or if they wanna trash it for several months. You know, they'll, it's not gonna be just an inspection or I show up on the doorstep and say, hey, I'm here to look at your house.
So a change that I've heard, take away the fee, designate a landlord of 10 or more.
I would say, so my ideas are,
I'd say
Yeah.
Well, you said 10. Why did you
Mark.
say 10?
because that's usually when you run into
I agree with
pinching
you.
pennies. When you have more private landlords that own just a few here and there, they're
Mhm.
more apt to take care of their properties. Just in my opinion and my experience. So my suggestion is, I would say that the fees I would be a go for if we define landlords as 10 rental property, like they
In
own.
our house, in our town.
Yes.
They have to own 10 or more in our town.
Yes. And because we're only caring about the ones in our town. And then
Right, I'm just wondering how
Yeah.
many people it's actually gonna apply to.
2 companies.
could be. And then my other suggestion would be the structure to be weather tight and watertight. Kind of just more, I guess, understanding of that maybe like what, obviously not holes in the siding, but like, are you making everyone, I don't know.
Well, I guess my concerns here are,
Hold on, I
how
still
does
have one
this-
more.
sorry, but we're talking about this.
Oh.
How does it differ, how is this different from what our regular code is?
I don't think there is.
It really isn't. But this is specific to rental properties and landlords. I mean, we can go back in and write a lot of houses up here in town for siding, for paint that's missing, for windows that are out, one thing and another. And that's gonna happen this year, or it didn't last year because it was a short year for
But
them.
that's what I'm saying is, why are we holding the landlords to this standard, but we're not
Get you that you don't already have in the code.
Yes.
Right.
Good point.
Could we put in there, just refer back to whatever code that specifically calls out for?
This is the sheet that we hand out to the landlord or to the person that makes the application. Because you've got several different places here in town that are managed by different companies. Yet when you trace it back, you're gonna find that there's the same people owning those. So that's gonna put them under the limit that you want. It's a way to skirt around something there.
Not if, I'm talking about owner, like if they're all owned by the same person, even if they have different management companies.
Okay?
How do you
But
determine our owner though, because some
Is
of
it
the properties
registered
are owned by trusts.
You can write all kinds of affiliate language in that definition.
Okay.
How many?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that was just
That's
my
not
thought,
difficult.
and I was just putting my thought out there. You'll have, like you said,
No, I
five
appreciate that.
or
The reason why I say
Three-
that-
What was your next one? Sorry, I interrupted you.
that. Well, I guess kind of what you were saying. We could just refer to code, because I was like fire extinguisher and then smoke detectors in each placed outside each sleeping unit, as I think is a little
Excessive.
excessive. I don't even.
Yeah,
I know.
and I had a problem with it. No vehicle can be parked on an unimproved surface such as a lawn. I
So
think
your
that needs
house
to,
would have to use code.
I think that needs to refer to the front lawn.
No, back lawn,
Drive-
because there's bugs and snakes and
Mhm.
rodents and everything that grows up
Someone
in the
over
back.
here has a backyard neighbor that has a jungle.
Yes.
Yeah, I
It
would.
is as
Okay.
tall as the fence.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so,
I have one too in my neighborhood.
I don't have
And-
anything, I just,
They never mow around
do
the
you-
cars.
As a council, I mean, are you guys, anybody else have any more ideas? Do you want to table this, or are we gonna just keep going in circles with it, or what are we doing?
make,
I'm not for it as is.
make said changes and discuss it at the next meeting? Thoughts from the table?
I've already said my piece.
So you're a no altogether, okay? Do you want to make changes, or do you want yes or no?
Yeah, I think we need to
Okay.
make changes to it
We can
and
make
see
that
what happy
change.
medium we can come
Or,
up with.
well,
I'm a no altogether.
Okay. Make changes and revisit,
That's fine.
say the June 1st meeting. Give us a month, mull over it a little more, put some thought into it, revision, referrals back.
Well, I think any changes that we make, we probably ought to send it back to
Yeah.
Yeah.
the attorneys and let them take a look at it.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Anything else?
I had a guy that requested a hearing today, and it states that it should be either with the governing body or your designated appointee. So, what, when do you want to do it?
And I talked to Matt about that before this meeting. He sent an email out. And I believe it has to have notification. There's a notification on there. They have to be notified within so many days. If that notification goes out tomorrow, we can have them come at the 18th meeting and have it here at the council.
Can we do it, like, do we need to do it at like 6:30 before the regular meeting, or is it just part of the meeting?
We can do it as part of the meeting.
So I need clarification on that, because Matt sent out an email saying that he needed to have the notice published. But based off of what I'm reading, it's only if we have not had contact that it needs to be published. So,
I haven't seen the proceedings, but if you send me orders, then I'd be happy to,
I thought it
look
had-
at what, how it goes. It depends on your.
I thought it was only if you
Yeah, okay.
haven't made contact.
Yeah, that's what that's how I interpreted it as
That's how
well.
it is in Hutch.
Is if you don't make contact, then you have
yeah,
to publish it.
and that's how
That's
most
instructor.
legal proceedings are. If you can make contact by mail, certified mail, everything else, it's when the tenant, the occupant, whatever it is, you cannot make a
Reaching them
physical,
in
Yeah.
a way.
get a hold of them.
You've identified the
publish it.
owner,
Right.
Yeah, the owner actually, he requested a
Okay.
hearing, so
and you sent notice to the owner.
he.
I had given him a door hanger to mow the grass, and he called this morning and said he'd like to request a hearing. I talked to him later on, probably about 5 o'clock tonight, and he said, well, the thing about it is, he says, I'm wanting to do a natural lawn, but he says, I want to be able to be within the, what the code's gonna be. He wants to put some natural grasses in, but he wants to use them as a landscaping type deal. And natural grasses can grow up a little bit higher, but there's also people that have pampas grass.
So the grass needs to proceed. Yeah, I'll double check, but I don't think the
Grass,
public
or is
has
it landscaping?
And then some of it was gonna be flowers that would be 4 to 6 inches tall, so they
Native
would,
grass.
but
Can be landscaping, yes.
Would be like having bamboo. This is like a,
Okay.
be like bushes.
Okay.
that's all the problems I can bring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is my bedtime.
I know.
Miss Josephine?
So at the last meeting, I had discussed how the school district wasn't going to move forward with the shade for the softball field, and I was directed to contact the Wright family to see what their idea, if they like the idea of naming the ball field the Merritt Wright Field. After the family discussed, they came back with they wanted to have the money given to them. And so that was their end result on what they wanted done with the funds. The fund, it's up to you. I did ask legal about what she thought, and she said no, that would not look, that's just not something we can do with funds that were donated to the rec department she said there are workarounds if there was like a scholarship that was set up. But to write a check, she did recommend not to do that. So, discussion is yours on how to proceed.
I really like the ball field idea.
I appreciate you not including me in this. Thank you.
So,
So technically, the funds were given to the city,
They're given to the rec.
the rec,
The
but the
rec.
rec department is part of the city.
Right.
Right.
I'm just
Yes, so it went to the rec department.
semantics.
The rec department's part of the city, but the rec department sent the money to the USD 312 in order to,
Along with the other funds.
correct,
For the shade.
for the
So
shade. and
how
they're
much
doing-
of it was
Wasn't it like
donated?
15?
$1,200 was donated,
1,200.
and then it was $5,700 out of the rec funds that were given. So $6,900 check was written back to us.
My question is, I know we talked, but you brought up that you found a grant. Did you discuss that with the school?
Yeah, I did. I talked to Ida Cabbage about it. If they don't want to move forward, this is very low, but the shade was a very low, like, not going to be done. They don't want to move the trees that would need to be moved in order to build a shade. They're not, they came back with, would you care if we use the money for a pitching machine? And I said, well, no, because that's not the intention of, it was supposed to be, the whole idea of giving it to them was to have some sort of memorial for Merit Right. And so I said, just send us the check back.
Would anybody be opposed to just naming the field?
I,
Making an executive decision?
I mean,
Do we
I
wanna
would have
wait
to
and
agree.
leave
I
it
think
up
just
to-
writing a check back is after this long. That's, yeah.
Well, and it was donated to the rec.
Right.
The funds were received directly to the
I mean, the rec could have just put it in their budget and spent it on equipment. Didn't have to do anything
is,
to memorialize, you know?
could, can this money be used to update some of our?
Yes, I mean, it could be used for whatever we decided
Right,
to use it
that's-
for.
Is there equipment that needs to be updated, whether it be softball, baseball, volleyball, football?
We do need to buy some more helmets, just a few. And I mean, balls, there's tons of baseballs and softballs. They're completely out in the shed of baseballs. So, I mean, there's definitely inventory that needs to be restocked for the summer season when I went and checked the shed the other day. So,
But I don't like the field.
but I'm
Because
gonna say I
it's-
do,
It was a
I
great
feel
idea.
like it was I mean, just something
To memorialize.
memory.
Yeah, yeah.
I
is
like
what
the field.
was
And it's
my
not
big
just a
thing.
brick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I like that idea. I think that's,
Do we know how much it would, like, we don't have to do anything, like filing paperwork or, it's just logistics of like having a sign made and
Yeah.
essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know, have you gotten any quotes? Do you know how much?
I didn't move forward with anything on
Right.
getting quotes on anything because of the separation of funds and like, because one was strictly from the rec and, you know, one
yeah, it
was
makes
for
sense.
a donation, so it was, I have not moved forward with looking into anything. I was waiting on guidance from council.
I think we need to.
I think so too.
I think so too, naming the
Can you
field.
get some quotes to have a sign? Okay, next.
So I've had, okay, so we did the food truck permit. I'm needing clarification on occurrence of what that means. We have a food vendor who does slushies all summer, or all June, when there's home games. he can't do the $50, a game. And so the per occurrence is very broad. We did say like if there was a 3-day,
So we changed this because restaurants that were open asked us to, and
And
then
then
they
they all
closed.
closed, and
So
now-
I actually appreciate this being on here because I thought it was something that we needed to talk about anyway. 'Cause now we have no food trucks because
because we can either, so if we continue how we are, we can offer a year permit with a little bit more money, but I guess the main one is in June, the guy wants to set up for home games, slushies, the concessions.
He leaves his trailer there, so not be, I mean, it's already set up there.
As long as you leave it parked here
I
all month
mean-
long.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And he does, he's parked it
I was
there
gonna say
3 or
he's
4 days.
I mean, so that's what I'm asking the council, like, would the ball season classify as an occurrence?
As
if
far
it's
as
really
I'm
broad, then
concerned, it
I
is.
would say yes.
Because we don't
What-
have,
I think we need to review this anyways.
Well-
What does your license code say?
Couldn't it fall
It
under
says per
special
occurrence. We
events?
changed
That's
it
all it
to
says is
occurrence.
per occurrence?
I mean, that's,
Occurrence
but that's what
because-
I'm asking,
Yeah,
because like,
it was yearly. It was just a one-time
$50 a year.
$50 per year. They got it.
and
So
now
if they
we
paid
changed-
for it in April, it lasted till the next April.
and now we changed it to $50 per occurrence.
And we
I'm a little
did
We have to
it.
Define occurrence.
But
We did it to accommodate the restaurants here in town because they lose business when we have food
If
trucks.
we had some food trucks
Trucks
coming
all the
every,
Was the intent that the occurrence was when they come to town?
Right,
Yes.
so if they come once a month, then they pay it once a
Somebody
month.
owned one in town, how would you have charged them? Every time they moved it?
We didn't think that far through.
But, like, we have a special event, fall season, I think, would be a special event that,
Right, we already discussed the, like
Yeah.
the
So-
Fall
Fall
Fest, if
Fest
they're
and
here
the-
for 3 days, then that's one occurrence.
so I think we could
We could-
loop it in with the special
Baseball
event
season.
and just charge them once.
I'm fine with charging them just once.
Game too.
I'm
Because
fine
the
with
kids like
charging
the
Okay.
them
Smiths.
once.
that's, all right, thank you.
But do we need to look at,
Can I just send you guys what we did and then you?
Yes, absolutely, we can
like if
think
we need
about
to
whether
define
there's-
occurrence, if we
Right.
need to define special
Yeah,
event,
don't
if
want a
we
whole
need to.
page to define occurrence, but
To be
I'm sure we
honest,
can come up with
people
some
like
kind
to
of-
Do we just
Have it
need to
on the
change it
next
back to
agenda
what
so
it
we can
was,
discuss
because
it.
it wasn't an issue,
Well, that, I
maybe?
mean, once a year
charge
is certainly
more.
the simplest way to do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
$100 on something. I don't know, anyway, yeah, perfect.
We could put it on the next agenda. and
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can change-
yeah, I know.
Updates, Ms. Josephine?
Our next meeting will have the audit, they are done, and so they'll be here to present the audit, and, the rec season, I had a parents meeting, coaches meeting on Wednesday. I did ask Brady to be there for that at least, so they could see who was, going to be their point of contact. He is coming in tomorrow to start. He had something that happened, he had something going on today, so tomorrow's actually when he is starting. It looks like we will have almost every team. Third and fourth grade girls is the only team we're not gonna have. So, seventh and eighth grade we have it, and, people are really excited about the ball season. Let's see. That's about all the updates I have. I'm trying to get to the budget and work on that, and, just making sure. The next thing is gonna be getting shirts ordered, so that's gonna be a quote that will probably be under 1,500, I hope, and so, I don't need council approval with it being under 1,500. If it is, I will refer to Mayor Wright and see if,
If it's over, I'll prove it.
okay, so,
I mean, we do it every year.
Yeah.
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 Every
Yes.
single season we do it.
A
Yeah.
couple years ago, it was over 30 cents.
Yeah.
That's it, unless you have anything for me.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Carmichael?
He doesn't want me to yell at him.
We got our fogger inspected and certified for mosquito fogging. We need to buy another drum of the chemical and some more dunks,
Yes.
mosquito dunks. The total for that, and I apologize, I tried to get a better quote out of this person and it wasn't registering or something. So the total for the two will be $2,893.20.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion on the table. Need a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in
Who
favor, say
seconded
aye.
that?
Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So that includes the fog stuff and the dunks?
Yes.
Perfect.
And updates, he's been working hard getting the pool ready. Chemicals came in this afternoon for it, so we are putting water in it in the morning, first thing.
Perfect, you know that's your favorite thing.
They will be able to do their training Saturday.
It's gonna be so
Oh
cool.
my god.
I went to, the KMU conference over in Wichita for 3 days, had a lot of the speakers learn. Other than that, it's been mowing, keeping up with stuff best we can, and hope we don't have any storms.
Anything else
Trying
for
to think if there was any issues we've had since our last meeting. I don't think it has. Had a couple small little electrical issues that we, just typical stuff wearing out.
anything for Carmichael?
I had one thing that a citizen brought to my attention, and I didn't know if Public Works takes care of it or who does. But you know, I even drove past to try to get the street name today, and I failed. But right where the church is over here, and then there's the house across the street that I think's vacant, the Methodist church.
On Kansas Street?
Thank you. There's like white lines that were painted at one point, but they're kind of gone.
Like crosswalk.
Yes, they were concerned because they didn't know if we had, if somebody paints them or what.
We normally each year have some kids that need some community service stuff that we get paid for, and we normally wait till just before school gets started.
Okay.
Mainly because the lines seem to disappear fairly quickly after they've been painted.
Okay. I'll let them know that.
But yes, if we get some kids that want to do some community service, we'll put them to work.
Anything else? All right. Matt?
You got Tony oriented or part-time officer. He's out working for us now, right now. Emma has gone through the academy as so she is part-time certified, so she is working with Officer Phillips right now. He is observing, doing an FTO on her, make sure that she's got boxes checked. Still don't have anything back with the sheriff's department whether we're gonna be able to get her out there yet or not. So the last week of April, I was at the KC just training conference over in Wichita. Then this week I'm over at the Chiefs, not the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Kansas Chiefs of Police conference at Kansas Star Casino.
I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
this.
They totally do.
What's that?
I said they do that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Stay in there.
Gambling losses are not our losses,
What's
okay? Your gambling losses are not our losses. I'm just kidding.
So, the other thing is, we've got the block party scheduled on the 23rd. I've got, so before I've asked for consensus on funds, if we get more than the $1,500 that comes in, just want to be able to make sure that we're going to spend that. So I just wanted consensus council on that, so that it's all donated directly for the block party. Sometimes we've had that before, but I don't know what's coming in yet.
I think everyone at the table's
Yes.
good with that.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
get more than allotted, spend it.
Yep.
It's an amazing event. Everybody looks forward to it.
You got a full-time officer? Another full-time officer? Was there somebody else that you were talking to? About full-time? Okay. Okay.
You dreamed.
We're hopeful.
Gotta find the
Anything
right
else
person.
Anything else from Mr. Hayden?
No, not for me.
Alright. Thanks, sir, appreciate it.
Anybody else? Sorry. I just
No,
spoke
no, I'm
for all of
good.
us.
Council concerns, Ms. Shelley,
Nothing.
Ms. Nicole? Ms. Sierra?
No.
Ms. Sherry?
No.
No.
No, alright, 18, PD job description, audit. We'll have an executive session, for city clerk. Other than that, if there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion on the table, need a second?
Second.
Have a second by Nicole, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, y'all beautiful people. I will see you around.
All right. Bye now.